What's going on there, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you guys already know, the playtest for the brand new Battlefield game has finally concluded. And I'm not sure if this was the final playtest or not. You guys can let me know down in the comment section, but I'm pretty positive this is going to be the final one, at least until we can get into the beta form and then closer into launch. So, I mean, with that being said, we have gotten to see a lot of this game. I mean, for the first time in ages, I think we are not being finessed by trailers or any, corporate garbage. The only thing we've been given is actual footage. Like I said, the game itself from the community, fans, the core audience of the game, pushing it out there and I guess risking their access to play the playtest, but still giving us all of these details. I still find it a little strange, and I do think that, maybe EA DICE had a little bit of say with allowing this footage to be leaked so frequently, since it seemed like every single week it was just a ridiculous amount of content being pushed out to us. But still, I'm just going to chalk it up to leakers. At the end of the day, we have seen a lot. But as you guys already know, the internet is going absolutely crazy off these leaks, and not in a necessarily good way, which honestly, I don't really think is needed right now. Everything that I've personally seen, and I know this might be a completely unpopular take, but from what I've personally seen, the game looks really solid, it looks nothing like what 2042 turned out to be. And it looks like they took a lot of our feedback into consideration, and they have changed a ton of things around. But regardless, it seems people are very caught up on, problems, I should say, right now within the current build of this Battlefield experience. I mean, first and foremost, like, for example, the Assault class can indeed carry two separate primaries. And in this game, the weapons are not locked to classes just necessarily yet. So with this knowledge, that's a disaster. That means assault players are basically going to be one-man armies, right? They have everything they possibly need. They can engage in every last bit of combat. They have med stim so they can heal them. So, they can basically do all the roles, unlimited ammo because they have two separate primaries. That is obviously going to be a pretty bad negative. And also, I saw a post by X Factor over on Twitter saying, DICE has decided to fluke with yet another core aspect of Battlefield. Battlefield 6 is bringing about different types of bullets and damage models to infantry weapons. This means instant deaths will be happening depending on someone's setup and aim ability. For the record, I'm not a fan of instant time to kill as it greatly lowers skill gap. And in the post that X Factor is referring to, it says, weapon customization. At first, I thought the system was awesome. There's a lot of customization for all the guns. Pretty cool system too. You can spend 100 points on attachments. There are different tiers for the same attachment, which differ in cost. For example, there is a vertical foregrip for 10 points. There are also vertical foregrips for 20, 25, 30, and 35 points. They get better the more they cost, so you can choose to have a really good foregrip, but a baddish magazine. In theory, in reality, you get way too many points. This directly plays into ARs being way too strong. Optics only cost 10 points. Barrels, extended, heavy, short, are also very cheap. This makes you able to pump so many points into recoil attachments, extended magazines, and laser pointers. You can build the strongest weapons that Battlefield has ever seen, probably. There is a modernized AEK version. By cleverly spending the points, you can literally have it be a complete laser beam, with which you can full auto people through an ACOG at 80 meters. At the same time, you can get 40 bullets with 2.2 second reload and 900 ms velocity, plus the strongest laser pointer makes you able to hipfire pretty much everything within 15 meters. That lets you get away with an ACOG. Just one example, you can pretty much break 3 to 5 ARs like this, others not so much. It gets way worse though. Nobody used this, probably because the game doesn't tell you what attachments do. It's not implemented yet, which is why I almost feel bad posting this. You can change the types of bullets you use. I could not figure out what most of them do, tungsten, polymer, etc., but hollow point and ballistic bullets actually increase your headshot multiplier. What the fluke? HPs get the multiplier to 2.1 for every weapon category, and ballistic gets it to 2.5. What? This lets an AR that does 25 damage, up to 30 meters, for example, two-tap you in the head. ARs that do 33 damage almost one-shot headshot you. What were they thinking? This combined with the slower movement is a terrible decision. It adds so much randomness to the game. A headshot out of an AK can either do 34 damage, but it also could do 63 damage, as the default multiplier for ARs is 1.35. This is so freaking bad. Also works on PDWs, which means a vector 1000 plus RPM headshot can do 50 plus damage to you. It completely breaks DMRs though. There's a DMR that does 60 damage. It plays a lot like the RSC in Battlefield 5 or the SVK in 2042, but it can also use these bullets. By spending the 100 attachment points cleverly, you can get a gun that one-shot headshots you from any range while having 15 bullets with minimal recoil, a 10x scope or 5x if you don't want scope glare, 900 ms velocity. You can also play it with a red dot or 2x and just hold corners. I went 72 to 1 in my last game using this gun with the 2.1 multiplier bullets. Infantry only. These attachments completely break the game. Skilled players with mouse and keyboard going for headshots will instantly kill you, especially with ARs or DMRs, because you move slower, you're also easier to hit than in previous games. Boy oh boy, a mouthful, but seriously bad news, ladies and gentlemen. I completely understand why people will be worried about this, but I'm going to be completely real with you guys. This is how I'm seeing it right now, because at the end of the day, all of this stuff is bad, but as I stated before, I genuinely have not run into anybody that has played this test who thinks it's bad. I'm being extremely serious with you guys. The only place that I see people saying it's garbage is online. Whether I go and try to scroll through Reddit and see what's going on with the game, or looking through leaks on Reddit and seeing people complain, or even on Twitter. Those are usually the spots that I see everybody saying this is like the worst thing in the world, we're not back, Battlefield's not it. But if I ask anybody, any one of my friends, my IRL friends who got into the playtest, they are having an absolute blast. A ton of my friends in the stream, same thing, having an absolute blast. All of the viewers who tune into the stream, I've seen dozens and dozens and dozens of people come in and say, yo, I got into the playtest, I finally played. Not a single person has said the game is bad. I've heard some say it's meh, but each and every person said it is just 1,000 times better than what 2042 ended up being. And you got to think back to 2042 when everybody first played that game. It did not start off too well, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody despised it. Everybody despised it. Even in beta form, it was completely busted. And here we are in a early alpha playtest. We're not even in the complete alpha, not even closing in on the beta. We are in an early alpha playtest. And everybody is falling in love. Not only with the gameplay by watching it, but the people who are playing it, from my experience, are just having a blast, and they don't want to see the playtest go. But sadly, at the end of the day, it did have to go. So this is what I'm thinking right now, because I've watched DICE throughout 2042 and going into this new Battlefield experience. And I don't want to say that, we should completely trust EA as a company and they're not going to screw us over, because that's false. There's always a possibility for these big publishers to go ahead and do something greedy, scummy, or just screw over the, overall audience. But when it comes down to the development team and how they're building this game for the core Battlefield fans, I gotta be honest, I don't think they're doing that bad. And I feel like a lot of these problems are being way too overhyped within the community. I mean, first and foremost, the, 2 weapons for the assault class. I could easily see that being tuned around. DICE already went in and changed almost all of the attributes. All of the annoying, perk changes that, we were talking about that everybody hated were practically changed. And they're much more balanced. So that's already a step in the right direction. And they also acknowledged, everybody not being very satisfied with weapons not being locked behind classes. I already expressed my opinion about this stuff. It is what it is. It actually made people angry. I don't know how, because again, it was just an opinion, but it is what it is, as I stated. But they're acknowledging everything. They're showing, once again, that they care, and they are currently changing things within this build of the game as we speak. And again, in regards to what X Factor was talking about, let's be completely honest here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be extremely honest. I guarantee that the attachments were priced the way they were because, again, this is an early alpha playtest, okay? This isn't the full build of the game. They're not trying to test for longevity of the game and have people play as long as possible. They want people to get every gun, every attachment, get everything that the game has to offer in this early version, and break it. That's the whole goal. And you can't break it if you don't have everything, at your, disposal, even when it comes down to attachments. I am like 98% positive, because there is still, a couple percentage that I can see DICE being stupid enough to do such a thing. But I'm like 98% positive that there will be some more expenses to the attachments within this game, right? I can't imagine they allow you to completely deck out every single weapon to turn it into an instant laser beam, defeating the whole purpose of variety between the weaponry. And also, the different type of ammunition, I don't think is going to be an issue either. Let's be real. Yes, in the early playtest alpha of the build, yes, this ammunition sounds disgusting, and that definitely breaks the game. But can you imagine if, Battlefield 6, let's just call it that, if Battlefield 6 launches with this type of ammunition, where pretty much every single rifle and SMG in the game is literally two-tapping you from across the map with headshots? I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, let's be a bit realistic here. That would indeed break the game. Even if it launches in that state, it will get so much negative criticism, so much negative feedback, that I guarantee it will be fixed within the week. But I promise you, even if it gets up until the beta, it's not leaving the beta because enough people are going to be making noise about this that will not be able to get into the final build. And, personally, I don't think that these problems are problems that are intentional. I truthfully do not. Besides the double weapons for assault. That is just mind-numbingly stupid. But again, like I said, I do have a bit of faith that they will resolve that issue. But when it comes down to, how many points per attachment and also the bullets being busted, we always have to keep in mind that what we are witnessing here is an early playtest. The whole point of the playtest is to give them this feedback and find the broken, busted up stuff so they can go ahead and resolve it. All of this information is amazing. I'm very glad that, this is being pushed out there so DICE can see what needs to be resolved. But at the same exact time, while I'm scrolling through Reddit and Twitter, I think the community can definitely go ahead and take a chill pill because a lot of the things that we are critiquing, I don't think it's time to be getting to the anger state that a lot of people are, getting in. Yes, we could definitely get there because, EA DICE has screwed us multiple different times. So the possibility is 1010% there, but this is so early on, ladies and gentlemen. We are critiquing a lot of these things in a very early infant state. I think by beta, we can maybe escalate it a little bit more if they don't get resolved. And then obviously, moving into launch, if they really choose to ignore everything and they refuse to even, budge, then yeah, I can see a lot of negative criticism from the community. But so far, like I said, I have not heard one single bad thing from anyone who has touched this game. And to me personally, it's kind of building up a little bit more confidence that this might be a solid foundation and all the things that are being listed can 110% be built over time, fixed, resolved, and we could potentially get a really solid Battlefield experience. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And of course, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.